Hey there, it's Lacy J from Space Bear Media, the makers of Lost in My 40s. Did you know that Space Bear Media also has a YouTube page where you can go to watch a video pre-show before every podcast episode? If you haven't watched it yet, stop, go there, do so, and then come back. Hello and welcome back. Lost in My 40s, episode 10. Somehow we're here already. I feel like I'm in shock. I'm also excited because this is an episode where we start to find out why we earmuffed Derek when we wanted to bitch about Ethan. And now we're going to get to talk about that outright with our pal Derek, who is also here with my husband Ben and my best friend Christy. How's everybody doing?
Good.
Lovely.
I don't know why I feel like that took a lot longer than it needed to, but all right. So like I said, episode 10, it is called Raised by Another. It's a Claire episode.
Claire.
And we're going to get Ben to present it to us. And I have to tell you, I did consider his excellent Australian accent when giving him this episode.
Thank you.
So here we go. Ben, take it away. Give us Claire.
Before we do that, though, I want to do our power rankings from last week. There was really not any movement in our top or bottom three. We still have Kate in the lead with Locke just 10 points behind, and rounding out the top three is Sun. The bottom of the barrel remains also exactly the same. We have Shannon in Deadass last, with Sawyer behind her, and Michael, who is making a play at descending further into the barrel from his performance last week. So I'm hoping that we're going to see maybe a few positions get jockeyed this week. And now I will hand it back to myself to take you through the episode Raised by Another. So the episode begins with a close-up of an eye. Once again, we have that same sort of theme of another eye. This time it's Claire's. It's nighttime, and you hear a baby crying. At this point, you actually see her eyes kind of like leap open, and then you hear another baby cry. This one sounds like it's a little further away, and she sort of jolts up out of her sleep. And when she does that, you notice that her belly is gone. I mean, her pregnant belly is gone. She gets up and starts wandering through the woods, kind of looking for where this baby is crying. She kind of walks out further into the jungle, and then it starts to seem like the cries are coming from multiple directions, sort of disorienting. And then she looks off into the distance, and you see somebody sitting in some light over back behind a tree, and it looks like it's Locke from a distance. And when she approaches, she actually sees that it is Locke, and he's sitting at this table with this next to this antique floor lamp
with electricity.
With electricity,
in the middle of the jungle.
In the middle of the jungle, yes.
Yeah.
And it looks like he's doing a tarot card reading. And she approaches him, and he says, "It was your responsibility, but you gave him away, Claire." And then when he looks up at her, he says, "Now everyone has to pay the price now." And when he does this, one of his eyes is totally black, and one of his eyes is totally white, and it's very, very reminiscent of the scene where he holds up the backgammon pieces next to both of his eyes and shows Walt, and he says, "One is light, one is dark."
Yeah, it's also very, very creepy.
It's super creepy, yeah. But I feel like it's definitely channeling that earlier scene, and once again, we're sort of weaving this sort of air of mystique around Locke.
Yeah, totally.
And then you see what looks like a kind of a kid running through the forest, and she hears another baby cry. She starts following those sounds and ends up coming across this baby's crib, just sitting there in the middle of the jungle at night. And when she walks toward it, she sees it has one of those, I don't even know what they're called. Are they like a mobile or a mobile?
Yeah.
There's like a mobile hanging over the top of it. And then on the mobile, there's a bunch of small like model planes of like the plane that they were on. And then you start to feel like kind of this shaking and rumbling, and you could feel like things around her are getting a little more sort of like almost stormy in a way. And the plane starts spinning around on the mobile. She looks down into the actual crib at that point, and then starts kind of, moving the blankets aside like she's trying to get at something.
Wait, stop. Guys, listen. This isn't what happened, but when I was watching it, I couldn't help but think how awesome it would be if when she was peeling those blankets back, that lock just like popped out of them.
Lock in the box.
Lock in the box.
And he just like came out of the blankets and was like, I told you, now everyone has to suffer. All right. Continue. Yeah, it's funny, right? You're picturing it.
Yeah, I am. And then all of a sudden she starts to like shriek. She finds that like as she reached in there, her hands are totally covered in blood. And she shrieks. And I mean, seriously, this is like Jamie Lee Curtis style. Like she fucking shrieks.
I wrote down.
She's a good screamer.
She is a great screamer.
I wrote down in my notes, Claire screams are greater than Shannon screams.
Yeah, Shannon. Well, I mean, yeah, Shannon is not good for much.
Shannon screams like a little bitch.
Yeah.
I'm sure she's lovely.
Exactly. It's Shannon. It's not the actress.
So then, we're obviously she was dreaming. We hard cut to what we think is reality, and she's shrieking there as well.
Yes.
And everyone in the camp starts to kind of gather around, and Charlie tries to calm her down. And it's like she's basically like she's still asleep.
It's night terrors.
It's night terrors is what it looks like.
Night terrors are like that, yeah.
Meanwhile, everybody else in the camp is looking at her like, will somebody please fucking shoot her? Because
you're going the way of the marshal, bitch, if you don't quiet down.
Yeah, we don't like screaming on the island.
But yeah, we're
going to send Sawyer to shoot you in the stomach.
Oh, God. Night terrors really are like that, where you can get up and you can walk and talk and seem awake, but people will shriek like that.
Yeah.
And they do happen more frequently to pregnant women. I think that comes up later in this episode. But
when I was a kid, I used to actually like run around my house in my sleep. I didn't know it like until my parents told me that like I would literally get up and I'd be like sometimes walking, but other times I'd be like running around the house and never run into things.
My mom did that as a child. She was a sleepwalker. I'm a sleep talker. I will say things, sometimes sit up or something, but I don't think I've ever actually.
You say the most random shit.
Oh, I do too in my sleep.
Oh my God.
Wait, no, I said something about French fries one day.
Oh, it's so random. No, like I can't even keep tabs of it. It's because it's almost a daily thing now. Because like I stay up later than you do, and when you're laying there and you're like on the edge of sleep, or you'll already be sleeping, and then you'll just move and you'll be like, and then you'll just say something completely ridiculous.
I do,
and it's like every 5 minutes I get a little bit of entertainment after you fall asleep because you just say. I do remember nonsense.
Though. Yeah, but I do remember some particularly, and it was a more recent event that I like asked you for French fries while I was asleep, and you suggested you suggested a type, and I was like even as specific to be like, no, not those kind. I want the crispy ones, and I have no recollection of it like at all.
You said something like that. Like it was like no, I want the crispy ones. Yum.
Yeah. Yum. I said yum.
Yeah.
God, that's so weird.
Or it was nums or something like that. Like obviously you num. All right. Back to Lost. So Charlie.
Oh my God, is that what we're doing here?
Yes.
So Charlie tells her she's been sleepwalking, but when he looks down at her hands are bloody in real life too. And
full
Charlie
of French fries.
Full of French fries, ketchup. Noms. So Charlie asks her what happened, and then title card.
Lost.
So now it is the next morning in the caves. And Jack is treating her, and he's telling her that it must have been a nightmare. And then she kind of replies to him. She's like, well, who said it was a nightmare? And then Jack tells her that the blood was from her own hands, that she had basically dug her fingernails into her own palms.
Is that even possible?
I don't see why not.
I guess if you have it manicured the right way, I chew all mine
I don't
off.
have fingernails. I tried it. Didn't work.
Mine are so blunt because I chew them.
With short fingernails right now, I could rip my own skin off my hands. I could
Jesus Christ.
I could feel it like.
That's a little.
Yeah.
Oh,
I'm not saying I'm going to.
Weirdly intense.
No. I'm just saying,
it was almost like you'd been waiting for somebody to ask you that.
That escalated really quickly.
I skin off my fingernails.
No, when you guys were talking about whether or not it was possible, the first thing I did was I just put my fingers in position. I started doing this, and it was like, yeah, like if I put enough pressure, I could literally slice into my own hands.
I actually did it while I was watching the episode. I was like, is that true?
I use my fingers to put the right pressure, but that's a totally different thing.
Oh, good Lord. All right, we're already back to this. It's
always sex with me. Or masturbation. You guys know that. It's always about masturbation.
On that note, Jack says he had an ex-girlfriend that used to talk that said that he used to talk in his sleep. And Claire asks him, what about? He says, I don't know, but she didn't like it. So at this point, Jack starts asking her some questions about kind of, medical history, basically, like, about her OB-GYN. And you could tell immediately.
Wait, OB-GYN?
OB-GYN. My mom worked for OB-GYNs for years. She always called them OB-GYNs.
Oh, I was like really trying to figure out why you had your own fucking lingo for that. No. All right, OB-GYNs. My mom worked for
a doctor of OB-GYNs, and she called them OB-GYNs. So that's what I call them.
All right.
Yeah, but now I'm picturing Jen delivering a baby.
Yeah.
Oh,
he's like, get that baby some clothes.
I was picturing Obi-Wan Kenobi delivering a baby.
Yeah. I see Jin doing it. He's like, imagine him trying to deliver Son's baby. He's like, no, you keep your legs closed.
Oh, God.
Pull your, what are you doing?
We won't have any
that
immodesty here while you're giving birth. Yeah.
Why do you look so sweaty? Clean yourself.
Yes, seriously, clean yourself. You disgust me.
Wow. All right.
And anyway, she gets, she's just very evasive about the questions that he's asking.
He's like, he's ready. He asked her about the third trimester. She really shouldn't be flying in her third trimester.
Yeah. And she says that, her doctor said it was fine. He asked her about, did you have these tests or whatever? And she's like, yeah. And she's very, very evasive. And then he asks, how many weeks are you into this? And then takes us to our first flashback, where Claire is in her apartment with this guy who we find out his name is Thomas. She comes out of the bathroom with a pregnancy test in her hand. And Thomas, the great guy that he is, asks her if she peed on it.
Yeah.
Did you do it right?
Did you do it right? She asks him if there's two pink lines, and he just says they're really red. And at this point, both of them seem really, really flustered. And then this sort of, sweet tinkling piano music comes in, and all of a sudden Thomas gets all soft, and he says, well, if we wanted to have this baby, we could do it.
I love how at this point, like when she freaks out, she starts to make the bed. Like if I make this bed, I won't be pregnant.
Right.
And
nesting.
I don't think it was nesting. I think it was like distraction. And I related to her not about the situation itself, but about feeling anxious and then just starting to like clean something or put something in order because it's like the only control that you have. Yep. It's like, well, if I make this orderly, like things will be better. They won't. It doesn't change anything. You cook? Yeah. See,
I cook or bake when.
Yeah. Oh my God. If I baked every time I was anxious, I would be much heavier than I am now.
She says that at this point, she thinks her mom would disown her. And then she starts to question how they would be able to raise a baby because she works at like this fish and fry place making jack shit for money. And then Thomas says, well, I've got my painting. Yeah.
Yeah, she says she's making like $5 an hour at the fish and fry or something.
And when he's talking about painting, for the listeners, he's not talking about painting the walls. He's like literally
an artist.
Yeah, he's a starving artist.
His painting,
starving artist.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah, that's so fucking funny.
So you're not going to be able to afford food, but at least your baby could eat like the oil paints that you have. Like, come on,
or
Thomas.
the leftovers from fish and fry.
Yeah, seriously. Yeah. They're already setting this guy up, Thomas, to be a complete fucking zero. So
fuck this guy.
Yeah. So he persists and says, well, this could be the best thing ever. I think we all know that. I think we all know it's not going to be the best thing ever. And he tells Claire that he loves her, and she sort of smiles, and then whoosh, back to the present. In the present, Kate is standing on the beach, looking out into the surf. And then Jack sort of creeps up from behind, says, "What's your name? What's your sign?" Ask her what her interests are, who she be with. You guys know what I'm talking about.
Oh my God. Yes. We're all with you. I mean, anybody our age is with you.
Yeah. What's your sign?
He jokes that she's just kind of standing still and that's really not like her at all. To which she replies that she is doing something. She's sinking. And then she says that she used to do this with her mom when she was younger. And then as they're talking about this, Kate mentions to him that Saeed has actually been gone for more than a week. And Jack is sort of reassuring, like, he's going to be okay. Like, he's kind of a badass.
I mean, yes. Saeed is kind of a badass, but...
Trained soldier.
Yeah, but still, to just feel, I'm sure he's fine. Are you? Because there's polar bears on this island.
And some kind of monster that's not a dinosaur.
Yeah, right. Yeah, people kidnapping people.
That's true.
And there's, crazy-ass French woman running around the island. I just feel like, Jack, I get it. You're everybody's dad. You're the hero. You're the reassuring figure. But come on.
Are you really sure he's fine?
Yeah.
He's probably not fine. All right, go ahead.
That's true. And I guess at this time, Jack is actually kind of just playing the part of a gopher. He's taking, water to the caves, or taking fish to the caves, bringing water to the beach. Obviously, just keeping himself busy. And then he says to Kate that Claire is probably going to have the baby soon. Then we cut to kind of a jungle setting where Claire is sitting against a tree, writing in her diary. And Charlie pops into the scene with a couple of teacups. And then makes this really, really bad joke about, the writing in the diary, something about.
It was like, "Dear diary, day, whatever, I ate a piece of fruit," or something. He just is joking about how life is mundane.
How mundane, yeah. Claire doesn't seem terribly enthusiastic about his comedy. Charlie actually confirms that it is tea in the cups. And then kind of jokes that they should have tea together because unlike these others, they're not savages. And then he starts telling her about a dream that he had where he's driving a bus and his teeth fall out and his mom's in the back eating biscuits and everything smells of bacon.
Biscuits are cookies for you Americans out there that don't know. It's not like biscuits and gravy. Biscuits are cookies.
Yeah, but eating biscuits and everything smelling of bacon, that works.
Yeah. It does.
Yeah, that's
Christy,
bacon flavored cookie.
Christy can make some really mean chocolate chip bacon bit
maple
cookies
with the maple glaze.
Yeah,
with the maple.
I have won awards with those cookies.
Nice.
That's true. Yeah. I mean, hello. Do you not know that Christy's like a massive like home chef? I'm trying to convince her to go on a show with Gordon Ramsay and win a contest so I can meet him.
And not Hell's
Kitchen. Should go on there.
Not Hell's Kitchen. No, Master Chef. Yes,
yeah.
Exactly. Master Chef is what we have our sights set on. Christy is going to get me an introduction to Gordon Ramsay. That
would be awesome.
The way. Fuck yeah, it would. Meanwhile, we're back on the island.
Now that we know that Christy's actually pretty badass, we come back to the island. And Claire is like, obviously Charlie's like kind of muttering a lot. He's just talking to kind of, because he's uncomfortable. And Claire says, I'm all right, Charlie. And, Charlie kind of relates. I can't imagine how hard this is for you. You're here on this island, no friends, no family. And then he offers to be her friend and says, like, you can talk with me. Again, Claire just kind of doesn't really say anything. And Charlie ends up kind of looking a little hurt and walks away.
Poor Charlie. He keeps trying to like connect with people and he's just not finding it anywhere. And
yeah.
In this scene, like spoiler alert for later in the episode, but we know we've all watched it clearly because we're here to talk about it. I think what's going on with her is like he's trying to connect with her and telling her that he is willing to be there to support her and the baby.
Oh, yeah.
And what he doesn't know and what we don't know in that moment and find out later is like she's trying to get rid of this kid. And so she doesn't want somebody to give her the attention in that way. But of course, from Charlie's point of view, it's just like, great, rejected again. Awesome. Yeah. Hey, I'm in a band,
Yeah.
Right.
But you have
Charlie.
to, you also,
I'm going to have to pity fuck him again, I think.
Yeah. You have to, like, anytime somebody is looking at you and they're like, I'll be your friend. Dude, like that's not the way to go about that.
Oh, well, I mean, I think he was really genuine in that moment. I think
I do too. It's
she
a little
didn't know how to
cringy,
explain to him that you're offering up something that I'm trying to reject, which is this, situation. Anyway.
Yeah. So we're back in a flashback, and Claire is walking with her friend, and they're discussing her moving into Thomas's loft. Apparently, he's got a loft where he does his painting. So it turns out that they're actually going to the house of a psychic. Her friend tells her that this isn't about like what she needs, that it's about fun. I'm going to say something right here, though. If you're making $5 an hour, I don't think a psychic, even if you're making $1 million an hour, I don't think a psychic's a really good use of your money. No.
Well, stay tuned because somebody has fun facts about how psychics trick you, for the end of this episode. But yeah, I do see your point there. I mean, for me, like I'm for people that know me in real life, or maybe you've gotten the feeling from this podcast. I'm definitely like a skeptic. I'm a science supporter. I don't think psychics are real. I don't think there's anything really supernatural, but I love this show and I suspend my disbelief because I love like the mystical, magical parts of this fictional show. And so, yeah, anyways, that's what I was thinking during this scene. But the fact that, she makes $5 an hour and she's going to like fork her cash over to a psychic does seem kind of irresponsible. But okay.
Doesn't she give him like $80 or something like that?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's multiple days worth of work.
Yeah. That's a whole lot of fish to fry.
Yeah,
Yep.
that's a whole lot of paint, Thomas.
God. All right.
So we next scene we're actually in the house and she's sitting at a table with this psychic, and the antique lamp that's over that table is the same antique lamp that she saw in her dream where Locke was sitting.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't pick up on that.
Yeah, that's a good catch. Yeah, it is the same lamp.
So she puts her hands in the psychic hands and he closes his eyes and then does, acting. I guess like he's sensing the currents and the waves and the crystals and all that bullshit.
So I always wondered with psychics. I've actually asked a couple. I said, "Why don't you just go play the lottery? You should know the numbers, right?"
It doesn't work like that.
Yeah, that's what they tell me every time.
Of course,
because
work
it
like
doesn't
that.
work.
We're gonna talk.
Right.
We're gonna talk about how it does work at the end of this podcast.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
All right.
And then he asks her just kind of point blank as like, "When did you find out about the baby?" And Claire kind of looks aghast and she looks back at her friend and her friend's like, I didn't say anything. And then this sort of creepy music sets in. And then the psychic, you can tell he's kind of troubled. He looks weird, like kind of anxious. And then he just sort of like stops the read and tries to give her money back and says, I'm not doing this. You've got to go. So she and her friend leave. But
Okay.
at least the 2 days of her work weren't sent down the shitter for
So again, like setting aside that personally, I don't think that psychics have any powers. However, for the purposes of the show, where we believe that he has powers, like, yikes, the psychic won't even give you the reading. Like,
it gives you the money back.
Yeah, he's giving you the money back. Like, this feels like a bad situation. Yeah. I'm not wanting the psychic to be afraid to give me a reading. Now my anxiety is through the fucking roof. Like, what the hell?
You could tell we're in a fiction because the psychic gave the money back.
Yes. There's no way that he would have given the money back.
Yeah.
All right.
That's like Sawyer giving the guy the $120,000. It's like, no. When you're in that line, you do not give anybody money.
No, you take both.
You take the money. That is the way it works.
Right.
So anyway, we've just lost all of our friends, like everyone that likes psychics and crystals and everything. They are gone.
They're off the podcast.
Oh, they're gone.
They should have known that.
They should have known that, exactly.
Anybody can believe what they want. This is my podcast, so I'm going to give my fucking opinion.
Yep, that's right.
Go to the Facebook page and give me yours. Tell me all about how the psychics are real. Come on, bring it. Let's talk about it.
Give me those lottery numbers.
All right.
Back to the present. It's nighttime in the jungle, and Claire is sleeping next to a fire. Then she starts to sort of rouse, and then, like, awesome stabby music comes in, and you feel like, somebody puts a hand over her mouth, and then the camera just starts kind of fast cutting. You can't really see what it's cutting to, but you definitely get the sense of like metal instruments and sharp things. Then all of a sudden we cut to Jack sleeping, and then boom, she starts shrieking again, screaming, "Help me." And Jack jumps up, and Charlie starts telling everybody that somebody had attacked her. Jack asks Ethan to go and get some water.
Ethan.
And Claire says that she couldn't actually see.
You, Ethan.
It says that she couldn't actually see the intruder's face because it was dark. And she says that that whoever was attacking her had a needle, and then, acutely or surmises that somebody was trying to hurt her baby.
Hey, you know what? Fun fact about Ethan, because I know I gave up on this after 2 episodes of recognizing people, but Ben recognized who Ethan was, and I was surprised. Do you want to tell everybody?
Yeah, I can't remember. I think his name is William Maypether, I think is his name, and he's actually a cousin of Tom Cruise.
Oh, wow. That's why he's so fucking creepy.
It's all coming together now.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, Ben just like he knew that, and I thought he was full of shit, and we looked it up, and he was right. So there you go.
Yeah, he's been in a couple other, like he's been in a lot of stuff, but he ends up doing like kind of smaller parts in some of Tom Cruise's movies, which is how I first became aware of him. Because I've got a weird eye for like small actors and things like that. I don't know why. I don't know why that stuff stands out to me, but anyway, we cut him back to the jungle, and everybody has torches. Nice. Oh, nice torches. They all look like they come off an assembly line. So,
well, they got them from the torch field. All they had to do was scale 6 sheer rock faces, and at the top is the torch field.
Yeah,
it's fine.
So that's where the torch trees are.
Yeah, exactly.
That or Michael. He's been shirking his cobbling duties, and he's just been making torches.
Well, he did work in construction.
Yeah. Sounds like boring work, right?
What?
Making torches?
Making torches?
Making torches sounds like torture to me.
Oh, you tried to set yourself up.
I did.
Good God.
Sometimes I've got to. I don't realize
the rules. No, that's against the rules.
I know.
Disallowed.
That's against your rules. I answer to a higher power.
Oh, for fuck's sake. Let's keep going. So
they all have torches. They're all fanning out. They're looking for whoever this was. And Jack and Hurley are walking, and Hurley says that nobody really saw anything. And then he sort of makes an observation. He's like, look, I'm out here looking for somebody with Scott and Steve. But who the hell are Scott and Steve?
Yeah, he's not wrong.
Like, yeah, this is one of my favorite moments with Hurley, because he's just like, kind of gets through to the heart of something. And he says, like,
he's solving problems, right? He's solving first everybody was bored and he came up with the golf.
Yep.
Now nobody really knows who anybody is, and he's about to come up with like the census.
Yeah.
Hurley is the mayor of Island Town. That's who he is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. He's sort of like the civic rock.
Yeah.
And then he elaborates. We don't really know who's living here. And he's like,
I love that he's like, Hurley's not even my name.
Yeah.
He does.
It's just a nickname, and I don't want to tell you why I got it.
No, what he actually, the actual quote, because I have it written down here in my notes, is he's like, yeah, Hurley is a nickname. Why? I'm not telling. And then he just keeps going on. Yeah. I love that moment. I thought that was great. During the course of this conversation, this is also the first time that we find out that Hurley's full name is Hugo Reyes. Right? That's
Reyes.
The first time that Reyes.
Yes.
Oh, man, you guys, I just had like a white person moment and couldn't pronounce a name that was Hispanic. Hugo Reyes. Sorry, guys.
Yeah.
All right. So, yeah, that's the first time we hear his full name. I just wanted to say that.
And I believe Reyes isn't that's Spanish for kings, isn't it?
You're the one that speaks Spanish. Why are you asking?
I believe it is. I believe Rey is king and Reina is queen. Anywho.
Oh, cool. All right.
So, yeah, he elaborates on that again and says we should start some sort of census or registry to figure out who everybody is. Cut to the next scene where Claire is sleeping by the fire and Charlie comes up and offers her a blanket. And then, tries to be consoling, says, you can sleep here. You can close your eyes. I'm not going to let anybody hurt you. And then he says, I won't leave you, Claire. I promise. And obviously,
I wrote down in my notes, Charlie is being better to her than she deserves, which is, I guess, how I felt at that moment, where he just keeps trying and she is just not.
Yeah.
Like, I get it that she's in a different place. We already talked about that. But for fuck's sake, she could just be like, I appreciate what you're trying to do or something. Good
Well,
Lord.
and I think what they do is they're like right now, Charlie is sort of a mirror of Thomas in her mind right now. And that's actually what brings us into this scene.
That's interesting. Yeah, I guess I see what you're saying.
He's like, I'm not going to leave you or whatever. And then boom, we come to this next scene where
she
Claire
gets left.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Claire's
right.
in her and Thomas's loft putting up the curtains. Thomas comes home and he looks really, really just agitated.
He goes to the fridge, I think gets a beer.
Yeah.
Well, you can't crush your girlfriend's existence without having a cool refreshment.
A little liquid courage.
So, Thomas says, I can't do this. This just isn't working. And she asks if he's breaking up with her. And he starts to complain about all of the,
his life.
About his life, about how he, all the responsibilities of a would-be father. And he asks, how am I supposed to be a dad? What about my painting? What about my life?
Yeah, I thought the painting was the solution, Thomas. You know what? Fuck this guy. He talks her into putting herself through the fucking hell of pregnancy and then a lifetime of parenting and then leaves her.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the dick move right there.
And
guess who's sweeping the kill rankings this week?
Oh, yeah.
Fuck you, Thomas. Fuck you.
And I can guarantee you he is a shit painter. Absolutely. There's no way this guy has any fucking talent.
That's amazing. It is amazing that you felt the need to give that low blow to a fictional character. I appreciate the sentiment.
He is
there.
a shit. And do you ever?
It's like you had to take it.
He is a piece of crap.
Yeah. He couldn't just be a fucking piece of crap. He's also a shit painter. Fuck you, Thomas.
That's exactly right. That's
Nobody's
right.
going to buy your art.
That's right. You're going to die alone, Thomas.
Everybody hates you. Nobody loves you. Go fuck yourself.
Go fuck yourself.
All right. Well, so that's how we feel about
Thomas.
Fucking Thomas here at Lost in My 40s. All right.
Yeah.
What's next? Hey, Ben.
Yeah, babe?
Got any special occasions coming up that you need a card for?
Is this a trick question?
No, it's an advertisement.
Is this about barbcards.com again?
Bingo.
So I suppose you're going to remind me that each handmade card is only $1.50.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't come with busy backgrounds or flowery poetry?
You got it. Barbcards.com offers to-the-point communication within several different categories, including our favorite, potty mouth. And if you can't find what you want, barbcards.com can do customizations.
Can I still get all of my cards for no more than $4 shipping, no matter the size of the order?
You know it. Barbcards.com has got all you need. Hey, Ben.
Oh my God, what are we selling now?
Merch.
Our merch?
Yes, sir. Shirts, coffee mugs, wine tumblers, bottle openers, stickers, magnets, and more. Your choice of product and your choice of Space Bear Media graphic from any of our podcasts.
Please tell me we're not making merch now, too.
Of course not. We'll stick to podcasts, and Pixis products will do the rest.
Thank God. I bet you have more to say, though.
Sure do. Pixis Products is a small business run by a local mom, well, local to us anyway, who needed something else to do besides being a snack bitch.
What?
A snack bitch, also known as a mom with a young child.
There's still more, isn't there?
Yepers! Pixis Products works with other small businesses for supplies, art, and other collaborations at every opportunity, including ours. In fact, Pixis Products even gave Space Bear Media our own storefront on their site. You can find us at shopspacebear.com.
Say what?
You heard me. Go to shopspacebear.com and buy something.
She tells him, I know you were going to do this. And then he really just goes on the attack and says, like, starts talking about her abandonment issues with her father. And then basically tries to say, like, you planned all of this, you know, you meant to get pregnant.
Guy.
Yeah.
Oh, this fucking guy.
And, you know, she's just like, are you serious?
So
Are you honestly think that I tried to do this? And then he just walks out and says it's over. So back to the present. It's the next day, and Hurley is at the beach next to the plane, or close to the fuselage, and he walks up to Locke and asks him if Locke is actually his name. Locke looks like he's tanning like a boar hide, some sort of animal skin.
Oh, when you said tanning, I was like, is he in one of Shannon's bikinis or something?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too.
No, tanning as in like using tannins to make leather.
Tanning the hide.
Right.
Yeah. Which
I think he's putting aloe on it or something.
I think so too. Something to seal it, which, you know, animal hides are important prerequisites for comfortable quality footwear.
Cobbling.
There we go.
That's
There
what
you go.
he's doing.
Well,
That's
you know what?
He can whittle whistles. Why couldn't he be the cobbler?
How can he make sure? He can do all kinds of fucking shit.
Seriously.
Yep.
You know, it's like you either get food or you're going to get comfortable footwear. One of the two. He needs to start training these people.
You have to have the food to get the comfortable footwear.
That's true. That's exactly
Don't you
right.
have to have the footwear to catch the food, though, guys. This sounds like
Oh, man, yeah.
This sounds like a
Yeah.
paradox, a quagmire, a problem.
So Locke kind of jokes around with Hurley and says, like, well, if everyone's, you know, if you're checking on everybody, who's checking on you? And then Hurley asks why Locke was in Australia. And Locke says, I was looking for something.
Yeah, but he says it in like the Locke creepy way.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah,
Right?
he does.
Where you're
Yeah.
just like,
Yeah.
I wonder if Hurley's making notes next to people's names like creepy.
Seriously.
Suspect, possible pedophile has taken an interest in Walt.
Possible pedo. And Hurley asks him, like, did you find it? And Locke, true to form, says, no, it found me.
Yeah, again, the cryptic, the creepy, like, God damn it, Locke. Just a straight answer. One fucking time.
It's like Robert Downey Jr. in Tropic Thunder, where he's like, man, I don't read the script reads me.
Oh, Jesus, yes, that's exactly right. Oh, we haven't made a Tropic Thunder reference in the series yet. I'm surprised.
Yeah,
it's only come up now.
And he was pretending to be Australian in that movie, so we got another tie-in.
Well, there was also a lot of heroin.
There was. All right. So then Hurley, like after he says that, no, it found me, Hurley sort of like peels off and he starts following one of the other girls that walks past him on the beach. And he's like, I know I already talked to you, but I've got to get away from that guy for a second, which I thought was really, really funny.
He's like, he's so fucking creepy. I had to get away.
Yeah.
It's very funny, but it's also a risky move on Hurley's part because Locke could have been behind any one of those fucking bushes.
Boing!
Or rocks or under a grain of sand. You never know where he is.
Then we got cut to the beach where Jack, Charlie, and Kate are walking. Jack says he's not sure that anything really happened to Claire. And he says Claire claimed that somebody stabbed her, but there were actually no marks. So Jack just thinks it's possibly just anxiety. Charlie doesn't really seem to buy it. But Jack says that, if she keeps going like this, she's like, something's going to happen to this baby. Like stress is going to be too much. And that, an early labor or anything like that would not be a good thing on the island.
Yeah, I feel like any labor is not going to be super good on the island. But yes, don't make it any worse than it already is. Yeah, absolutely. Yep. Right.
Yeah. And, from Jack's perspective, that is exactly the right move. Like he's looking at this from a doctor's perspective.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
He would know. It makes sense that it would be night terrors. There are a finite number of people on this island. If somebody is like a psycho killer, they would know. Or you would think they would know. I guess that's where we all still are in this episode.
Speaking of, elsewhere in the jungle, Hurley comes across E10, who's shaking coconuts off a tree. Hurley calls him Lance.
Sounds like a euphemism.
Shaking coconuts off a tree. Was he jerking off? Is that what it? Is that what that means? He was.
You've got a really filthy mind.
I wouldn't have thought of that.
Excuse me, but shaking coconuts off the tree sounds exactly like a little yank. That's exactly what that sounds like.
All right.
Not even a far
I'll have to use that in the future. What are you doing? Shaking coconuts off my tree?
You coming over later? Yeah, I just gotta shake the coconuts off the tree. I'll be out.
Is that what you do? Are you coming over? Yeah, I gotta jack off first.
I mean, yeah, put you in the right mood to have to see people.
All right.
Maybe that's just me.
I guess that's just you.
All right. Well, next time we're in a group of people, y'all can wonder what I was doing right before I got there.
I guess we all know. Ethan says, his name is Ethan, that he's from Ontario, and that his last name is Rahm. And then asks Hurley, like, why do you want to know? And Hurley just says, I thought it'd be a good idea. Go back in the caves, where Jack walks in and Claire's once again reading her diary. And she asks if they found the intruder or whatever. And he says they didn't. And Jack asks her maybe if she's just feeling anxious because of, the crash and every other damn thing that they're stuck on this island. And maybe that's why she's, maybe she's imagining this.
And then she's like, pissed off because once again, a doctor is dismissing a woman as just being hysterical.
Yeah.
Yeah. And she looks crazed. Like the look on her face when she realizes that he doesn't believe her. Yeah. She looks fucking nuts.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, Christy's right. That does happen to women. We're often dismissed. Yeah.
And so he tries to give her some mild sedatives, to which she takes umbrage, and starts packing her things, saying she's going to go, I guess, live at the beach. She tromps off, and then Charlie walks up and asks Jack, like, what he said to her. And as we cut back to her, she's actually walking through the woods or through the jungle back to the beach, and then we come into another flashback. That was crazy timing.
What was that? What was that?
I don't know.
So I silenced my phone, but not my iPad.
That was your
What?
iPad ding? Okay, because I was,
was
just
awesome.
like, what the fuck
I was
is
like,
happening?
who got a soundboard?
All right, well, fuck, that was weird, but let's keep going.
Anyway, so we're in flashback now. We're back in Australia, and she's knocking on the door of the psychic. Or she knocks on the door, the psychic answers, and he says that his name is Mr. Malkin, and she asks for another reading. He doesn't look terribly sure about it. He actually looks like a little put out. Obviously, he doesn't want to deal with this. And she hands him the money, and he starts
like 2
counting
weeks
it.
worth of wages in her hand.
Yeah.
Again, yeah, seriously.
Yeah, right. $5 an hour. Yeah.
Yeah.
I need to look
Hopefully
up
she went-
Australian currency
She
because that
stole
seems
all,
even
all the Thomas's. Go ahead.
that seems weird to me. Even $5 an hour in like 2004 seems
Actually,
like
I
not
did
a
look
lot.
or see something about that. It really wasn't $5 an hour. That their minimum wage was more back then, but
Okay.
in this show it is.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I don't know. I mean, in the United States, somebody who's like a server at a fish fry would be making less.
$2.13
anyways.
an hour.
Yeah.
And, yeah. God, that hasn't
anyways.
changed in years. He's counting the money, and then she asks him, well, if you're psychic, why do you need to count it? And he just says, it doesn't work like that. Mm-hmm.
Ah.
Yep, the usual.
Yeah, so kind of the same scenario as before. She puts her hands in his. She asks him how it works, and he says he doesn't really know. But then he immediately zones in on it and says asks when Thomas left her. And he says that last time he did her reading that he saw something blurry, and then he says that blurry is bad. Blurry is not what you want to see.
As a psychic.
Yeah, how the fuck he knows that or what that even means? It's like, all right, fine.
Isn't there like
this
psychic
whole-
school or something they go to?
I know,
or-
right? Yeah, that's right. Yeah, at psychic school, they learned blurry is a negative thing. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah. And then he asks if she's sure if she wants to do this, and she says yes. Then you cue a little bit of ominous music comes in. He starts breathing really hard, and then immediately just says it is absolutely crucial that you raise this child. He says she asks if what about Thomas, and he says the father's not going to be a part of this baby's life. He will not be a part of your life, and he says that the baby is surrounded by danger,
And that he needs her goodness.
Yeah, her spirit, her goodness is required.
Otherwise, this kid's going to turn into Hitler or something, I
I
guess.
thought
Yeah.
Damien,
Yeah.
but yeah.
Yeah,
For you youngins, go ahead and Google Damien. I don't know if that's still a pop culture reference that everyone would get.
they did a remake of The Omen a while back.
Oh, well,
It was pretty
then maybe it
decent,
is.
actually. Yeah.
Oh,
Though that
right.
was a while ago, too. I mean, it's not like it was done in the last couple of years. That's probably 15, 20 years old at this point.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, I mean, the original was what, like the 60s?
70s.
Early 70s, I
okay.
thought. Yeah.
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 It's a great movie. And then she says that if she and Thomas don't get back together, she's putting the baby up for adoption. And the psychic says, this baby cannot have a happy life without you. Claire starts to get really angry, and she seems scared and angry at the same time. He tries to give her back her money. She takes it, and then he kind of persists, or she says, I am putting this baby up for adoption. And he says, you've got to reconsider. The baby needs your protection. The machines will send a Terminator for this child. As I was watching this, I kept thinking she was going to have the baby, and she's like, I'm going to name him John. And then we're still in flashback, and she's sleeping, I guess in her bedroom when the phone rings, and it's the psychic on the other end of the call.
In the middle of the night.
'Cause I guess psychics just call people in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
I figured
How did you get my number? I'm psychic.
I know, I thought he'd just tap into her mind and be like, Claire, wake up, and
And wouldn't he know that she was sleeping?
Yeah,
so
seriously.
bother her.
And this is something that I noticed. It's when she gets up out of bed, it's very, very obvious in this scene that the belly that she's wearing is, you could see the edges of it. When she gets out of bed, you could really, really see. I was like, I'm surprised they didn't catch that one in post and be like, hey, we need to reshoot that scene. But it's pretty funny looking. Anyway, the psychic's on the line, and he's still saying this baby will be in danger. And he makes her some sort of offer, and she just hangs up on him. Back to the present. Claire's walking through the jungle, and Charlie pops out from behind, sort of a vintage Locke move. She tells him that she's going to the beach, and that Jack tried to drug her. And then Charlie sort of says, like, okay, so you're gonna prove to everyone you're not insane by walking through the jungle by yourself. Back to the beach, Hurley is trying to get information from Shannon. She's being cagey, as always, and says that her address is Crap Hole Island. And then Boone joins into their conversation and asks what Hurley's doing. And Hurley kind of is asking, like, why is everyone so touchy about me asking this? And Boone responds that Hurley's setting up his own Patriot Act.
Yeah, and Shannon chimes in with, he's a liberal.
Yeah.
Fuck off, Shannon.
Seriously.
Get the fuck out of here.
I mean, in Boone, I'm sorry, like, he's setting up the Patriot Act. Really, Boone? That's like, once again, like, every time he opens his mouth, I just want to punch him.
Yeah, I feel like a census is a normal thing.
Yeah, you want to know who's there. Like, anywho, you know, if he starts talking about doing wiretaps, okay, then I might have an issue with it. But, you know.
What, on their coconut phones?
Exactly. That's amazing. I imagine like lines all up over the island, people going up with their coconut.
They're just like adding a coconut onto somebody else's line, listening in.
Please add 2 shells to have another 5 minutes on this call. So Hurley tells Shannon and Booth that Claire got attacked.
What the hell is a booth?
Boone.
Booth.
Boone. I don't know. I said Booth.
All right.
And Shannon actually said, like, he says, well, we should go help. And Shannon says, I'm not going to the rape caves.
Yes, she did. She said, I'm not moving to the rape
from?
caves. And I don't know, but this is a rare moment where I'm on Shannon's side. That's fucking hilarious.
Yeah,
she said that.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, you know, nobody got raped, but she's just being a whiny bitch who's blowing everything out of proportion. But for some reason, it lands this time.
Yeah, it does.
Laugh.
I mean,
this one was good.
Yeah,
Crap Hole Island, rape caves. Like,
she's
she's throwing in some zingers. I'm actually kind of like this side of her.
So witty.
So witty. And then Boone, not Booth, actually has a moment of clarity. And I got to take back what I said about him, because he says, well, if we had a flight manifest, then you would know. It's like,
yeah, how was that
ding.
Boone's idea?
Wow.
What's that?
I know.
The writers threw him a bone, I guess.
Yeah.
They're like, all right.
Boone the bone.
Hey, you know what? He's got a business, so he knows these things.
Yeah. Anyway.
So, yeah.
Good idea, Boone.
Yeah, great idea. Great idea, Boone. Now shut the fuck up again. We don't want to hear from you anymore. So Hurley asks at that point, like, well, who's going to have the manifest? And Boone sort of intimates, well, who do you think? Obviously sort of indicating Sawyer has it, since he's the hoarder.
The godfather of resources.
Exactly. We cut to the next scene, and Sawyer's laying shirtless, wearing his fancy sunglasses, a book, and
they're
some
gold
cigarettes.
and bedazzled. They're amazing, and he looks hot in them.
Yeah, I kind of love him right now.
And his arm is still bandaged from being stabbed in the earlier episode. Hurley asks him for the manifest and says, like, look, you can do what you normally do. Like, you can be a dick. But Hurley points out that Sawyer could really use the points.
Yeah.
And Sawyer kind of, you know, he sees the sense in that and tells Hurley where the manifest is. But he also, he has to call Hurley Stay Puffed in this scene.
Yes.
Which, okay.
And Hurley laughs.
He does laugh. I love the movie reference. I don't like the fat shaming. But, movie reference is good. And Hurley laughed, and, you know, he was paid to do that. So who knows how he really felt. But
it's the most innocent thing I could think of.
and it's entirely possible that some of
Movie
our
reference,
listeners do not
beautiful.
understand where that comes from. That is a reference from Ghostbusters. the original movie. So
we keep
just
giving
in case.
like
Yeah, I never saw the remake, and I don't think I ever
we
will.
keep giving like clarifications to the younger listeners.
We don't
as
have
if
younger
we
viewers.
have any. Yeah, it's a bunch of you
Maybe
middle-aged.
you know
fucks.
what?
They'll see the word for the 40s. Like, oh, that's
Yeah,
old to me.
exactly. Like, why do I listen to all these?
It's okay, kids. Your parents understand.
Yeah. Why do we want to listen to all these heteronormative fossils talk about
Oh my
things?
god, what heteronormative?
So-
I'm bisexual.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah, see.
So back in the jungle again, we're doing a lot of cuts back and forth where Claire and Charlie are walking, and Charlie asks if he can carry her bag, and she asks why he came after her, and he's like, "Well, because I like you, Claire." She says, "You just want to rescue me because I'm pregnant, and I don't really need to be rescued." Then a big timpani drum comes in, boom, 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 and then I guess we've cut to commercial at this point. We come back from after a word from our sponsors, and Charlie.
I wish we had sponsors. I mean, you guys want to do some advertising, email us. spacefaremedia@gmail.com. All right, go ahead.
That's right. Charlie says, "Oh, we got to start timing these contractions."
Yeah. Can we talk about his counting?
He's
Because
ridiculous.
he says one sugar plum fairy, two
Yeah.
sugar plum
Yeah, I
fairy.
know.
What the fuck are you talking about, Charlie? What is this shit?
Such a cute
Well, it's
little
not going to be
hobbit.
one Mississippi because he's not from the U.S.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
true.
Oh, fuck,
That's
you're
true.
right. Is that what they do? They count sugar plum fairies in
I
England?
guess that's what they do in England.
Could we get our British listeners to please come to the Facebook page and let us know if you count in sugar plum fairies?
But they're not
Thank
in Britain.
you.
They're in Australia.
Yeah,
But
it's
he's
true.
British.
He's
Yeah.
from, yeah.
I think.
And they're
I
not
think
in Australia. They're in the middle of fucking nowhere.
And whatever. He's a hobbit. That's how hobbits count second.
Oh, okay. All right.
That makes sense.
they count in metric, y'all. They count in the metric system. Everyone knows this.
Okay, so sugar plum
Oh,
fairies is metric.
That's
Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
Thank
you got
you.
mini sugar plum
Oh,
fairies,
that's
micro
right.
sugar plum fairies, kilo sugar plum fairies. Like everyone knows this.
Kilo of sugar plum fairy sounds
Oh,
like
that
an
sounds fun.
awesome time.
Kilo, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
She asked him to go.
Are we still recording?
Yeah.
Yes.
She asks him to go get Jack, and he says, "I'm not leaving. If I can kick drugs, I can deliver this baby." So kind of unwittingly,
What?
he's like, "Hey, I'm a junkie."
No, Charlie, those are not the same things.
No.
Seriously.
Not the same things.
I love
Jesus
that he's
Christ.
like, I was a drug addict, but I'm fine now.
I know, right? I was a
Right.
drug addict like 24 hours ago.
Yeah.
I'm totally fine now, ready
Kicked
to
it.
deliver babies.
If I could
Worked
deliver
it,
these drugs, I
work
can
it
kick
out.
this baby. Oh wait, fuck it.
Yeah.
It's because I'm
Jesus.
strung out. It's because I'm strung out, guys.
That's why he's counting sugar plum fairies.
Yeah, seriously.
He's in fucking withdrawal.
Seriously.
But he can deliver a baby, so.
That's true. Then Charlie takes off through the jungle, and we get some good running music. You expect to see Tom Cruise come flying onto the scene here.
He is a good runner.
We cut to another flashback where Claire is sitting in the looks like a big kind of legal room around a table with there's like a couple, and then it looks like a lawyer sitting at the end of the table. And the lawyer is saying that, basically you're going to deliver this baby for them, and they're going to cover your living expenses, your medical expenses. And then the lawyer says after the baby is born that she's going to have no part in the baby's life, and it'll be up to the adopted parents whether or not they're even going to tell the baby about her. And then the lawyer says that after she gets out of the hospital that she'll get paid another $20,000.
It's like 2 years of work. Wow.
Yeah. Shit. Yeah, man. That's better than the fish and fry. She might have a new business going on here.
You're not allowed to sell your baby up here.
No, I actually looked
No,
that up
not
too.
like
No, it's
that.
not. They
No,
don't
it
pay
doesn't
you
work
20.
that way.
But the part of where they give her like room and board, that it does happen
Oh,
there.
sure, and all the medical expenses and
Right.
stuff.
If
Yeah,
you're
that
a
makes
That's
sense.
already
surrogate.
covered anyway.
Yeah, if you're a surrogate, that kind of thing. Yeah, there's very interesting laws. Like Ben and I looked into adoption. We were going into infertility. What does that even mean? When we were going through it, and there are very specific ways that you have to do things so it doesn't appear that you're selling a human being.
Yeah.
So anyway,
So Claire asks the couple if they're going to take good care of the baby.
No, we're not.
No.
We would like to adopt this child so that we can torture it. I mean, what kind of a question? Like, what are you? Of course,
we're gonna feed it. We're gonna feed it to the liberals at the pizza restaurant.
Yeah.
Exactly. So then Claire asks the couple if they know the lullaby Catch a Falling Star. She says that her dad used to sing it to her, and asks, the lady says yes, and she asks if they can sing that to the baby. So she tries to sign the contract at this time, but the pen doesn't work. So the lawyer gives her a second pen. That one doesn't work either. Then the lady gives her a third pen, and the sort of dramatic string music swells up, and Claire kind of stands up and just says, "I can't do this," and just walks out of the room.
It's like she takes the sign of the pen failure as a sign.
Yeah.
Like something's not right.
Yeah, 2 pens. Or the lawyer just has cheap pens.
Yeah. Next scene, she shows up back at the psychic's house, and then asks him about what his offer was. So then we come back to the present. We cut to the jungle where Charlie's still running, and he comes across Ethan, who's collecting wood in the jungle. And Charlie tells Ethan to run back to the caves and get Jack. And Ethan asks if Claire's okay, and then ends up just throwing down the wood and starts running. Charlie runs back to Claire and, asks her how she is, and says, if it hurts, you can just squeeze my hand and breathe. He's trying to be very supportive. It's kind of sweet. And Claire says, "I'm not supposed to be here." And Charlie's like, "Yeah, that's kind of the same for all of us."
Yeah.
And she says, somebody told me that this was going to happen differently. And Charlie points out, well, he was wrong.
Was he, though?
Was he?
Was he, though?
Then we go to another flashback. She's at the psychic's house. She's sort of complaining. She's like, "You've been telling me this entire time that I have to raise this baby myself. And now you're saying you found this couple in L.A.
Yeah, you think that would clue you in earlier that something was up, but whatever.
Yeah. Well, so goes the ethics of psychics. And that he tells her that she'll basically get $12,000. So I guess he's getting a discount. Not bad. Then we cut back to the jungle again. We're doing a lot of cuts in this episode. Yes. A lot more cuts back and forth.
Yeah.
Obviously building the tension,
Yeah, it's like contractions.
Like it's coming. Yeah, exactly. It's coming towards some sort of fever pitch.
Yeah.
Back in the jungle, Claire and Charlie are talking, and she's kind of embarrassed, saying, that she went to a psychic. And she's like, after all of this, I realized that, the dude was just full of it. And Charlie was like, well, maybe not. And Charlie points out that if he wanted no one else to raise this baby, then maybe he knew this was going to happen. He knew that they were going to actually crash here, and she'd be forced to raise the baby herself.
See, Charlie figures it out like that.
He does. He does.
The whole thing with the psychic is so shitty because not only does he plan for her to get, lost on a fucking deserted island, but he also doesn't stop the flight from happening.
Right. So
all of these
100
people
that die.
Yeah.
Right.
So
just to save one baby.
Right. So I can only guess
clearly
that if she doesn't raise the baby, that means that, she's giving birth to the next Donald Trump or something.
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
So
I was going to say the Antichrist is basically the same thing.
That was the worst birth ever. I was treated very unfairly.
It was huge.
Huge.
Liberals.
Yeah. I mean, the psychic's ethics are questionable.
Dubious at best.
Surprise.
Yeah. And not for nothing, but if you're gonna sweeten the deal, why did he say 12,000 from this other couple? I mean, just fuck it, you're lying. You might as well tell her that she's gonna get more. At least she can seem like she's gonna be
maybe
having
30,000.
The other couple was gonna give her 20,000. So
all right, that's what he's saying. Why not say you're gonna get a
Australian
bazillion
versus US dollars,
Yeah. Fuck lawyers, I get you a better deal.
It'd say $1 million. I mean, she's not gonna get there anyway.
Exactly. She's obviously gullible.
Suspicious. It would be more suspicious that way. Obviously gullible. Well,
yeah.
All right. Anywho's,
So again, to the flashback, the psychic is handing her a plane ticket, and he tells her that the flight leaves to LA tomorrow. And he's like very adamant it has to be this flight. There can be no other. And he says flight 815. Is it 815?
Mm-hmm.
Yep, 815.
815. He says it multiple times.
Yep.
815.
815.
815.
It's not your
that.
fault.
Yep, I remember him saying it.
Derek.
So we go back into the jungle again, and it's a close-up of Claire's face. And then she's just like realizing it, after Charlie said that, she had her little flashback. She's like, there was no couple in Los Angeles. He knew.
Nope.
Then we cut to Saeed. Moving through the forest. Yeah. We haven't seen him this episode, and he's obviously still hurt because he's limping from his engagement with a French. So like that's just like, hi, I'm Saeed, and then boom, back to Charlie and Claire.
They just let you know he's alive and limping along the jungle.
And the contractions have stopped, and she stands up and says, I think I'm all right. And Jack says that, or Charlie says that Jack had said that, stress can cause false labor. And she thanks him for taking care of her. It's kind of like the first time where she's really been like
finally,
genuinely, some return for all of his empathy. And they decide to go back to the caves.
Yeah, and Charlie, of course, manages to say emergency averted. Because, just don't say shit like that
don't say
on
that.
this island.
Yeah, bad call.
God damn it.
Yeah. What's the worst that can happen? So we cut back to the caves, and Saeed comes stumbling in. He tells everyone that he found the French woman. And it keeps cutting over to Locke as this happens, who's just kind of standing there in the shadows. It's just another creep-tastic moment with him.
Yeah. It's
like he's in the shadows, but he have it where his face is like half exposed in the light. It's actually a really cool shot. And then and Saeed keeps kind of repeating, I had to come back. So Jack starts trying to see to Saeed's leg, and Saeed grabs him and he says, we're not alone.
You did that well.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
I'll work on my Saeed a bit.
I'll work on Saeed a bit.
I bet you would. I'd very much like that.
I'd do something with his coconuts.
Oh, God. Alrighty. Then we cut again back to Charlie and Claire walking through the jungle, and then she feels the baby start kicking. We cut again to Hurley running through the jungle with his clipboard. He runs into the caves where Jack is singing to Saeed. Yeah. And he's like, we've got a problem. I've talked to everyone, and there were 46 survivors, but there's somebody extra. He basically said there's somebody that on that manifest that was not on the plane. And then we cut over to... Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
No,
sorry.
Then we cut to Claire and Charlie in the forest, and you hear somebody say, hello there. And the camera pans over quickly to Ethan, who's just standing there looking creepy as fuck.
I mean, way creepier than Locke ever did.
Seriously. Like the blank, like dead-eyed stare.
It's a fucked up moment because you realize, oh, shit.
Yeah, shit's going to hit the fan here.
Yeah.
It runs in the family with him, though.
and just behind Ethan, deeper in the jungle, Tom Cruise.
Jumping on a couch.
Scientology.
Yeah. The Others it's just David Miscavige.
That's The Others. It's Scientologists.
Yeah, it's Scientologists. You can't get away from those fuckers.
Wow, I want to get off this island, man.
Seriously.
There's a temple on the other side.
Seriously.
The island
it's like when all these countries wouldn't let L. Ron Hubbard into their harbors. He's like, oh, I got an idea. And
he did. He
came to this island.
The Sea Org. It still exists. Yeah. Well, he did that as a tax shelter.
Yeah.
He did it, but yeah.
So Ethan asks, or Charlie asks Ethan where Jack is, and Ethan just continues to stare, creepy as fuck, and then, end of the episode.
That's it. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, let's
so that was Raised
Psychic.
by Another.
Yes. Great episode.
Yeah, it was really good.
So I've got some fun facts here. I have 7 ways that psychics fuck with you,
full
make
of
you
shit.
think things. Yeah, that kind of stuff. I don't know if we'll get through all 7, but let's talk about a few. Number 1, making claims that could apply to anyone. Basically, what they do is just they're extremely vague. There's a you guys, I wanted to say psychologist, but I almost said Scientologist. There's a psychologist named Bertram Forer who did some experiment where he handed out a series of tests to his students or to whoever the subjects were. And he said that it was going to help him create a personality profile for each one of them. And that they had to rate how accurate his personality profile of them was. Okay. But unbeknownst to the students / subjects, he gave each one of them the exact same profile. And what he found is that they all found ways to say it was correct. Because if you're operating from the assumption that this is going to work, essentially, you're gonna look for things that confirm that. It's called confirmation bias. Anyway, so that's one.
Astrology is pretty much the same thing.
Oh, yeah.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So number 2, getting them to tell you the important info. So what they do is like a psychic will start off with kind of a vague message. And really what you don't realize is that you're giving them everything. If they say, oh, something with a letter C, and then you go, oh, that's my Uncle Charlie or whatever. And suddenly it's Uncle Charlie. And then if it's, well, yeah, Uncle Charlie has a message. Well, Uncle Charlie's not dead. Oh, wait. Okay. It's a message about Uncle Charlie. And this is how like they just pick up the information from your responses. Yeah. Number 3, saying things that will be true for at least someone. This works more when you're in a crowd and, they do these giant crowd readings. And if, you say something is like, oh, it's something about heart disease. Well, that's the number 1 killer in the United States. So somebody in an audience is going to go, oh, that was my whatever. And then we're back to, number 2, where they're giving the details. That's how this stuff works. Number 4, keeping it vague, which lets you backtrack when you get a miss. So I think I already essentially said something like that, where it's, Uncle Charlie, well, he's not dead. Oh, okay, well, it's a message about, it's all kind of the same sort of thing here. As long as you keep it vague and do this explaining of the spirit world doesn't always work this way, then you can get around that.
It doesn't work anyway.
Well, number 5, they watch for subtle reactions that actually reveal major details. So they're experts at watching and reading body language and the things that you'll do with your eyes, your shoulders, the way that you breathe, that you have a reaction to something. So as they're kind of, rattling off certain things that are vague, as, they're using all of these techniques at once. If you sit back in your chair or you raise your shoulders, you take a deep breath, they realize something triggered a response in you, and now they just have to dig deeper with some of these other tools to find out what it is that you're responding to. I guess we will get through all of them. Number 6, looking for minor clues that reveal important info. Essentially what they're doing is stereotyping. It's something that we all do. But if they're looking, are you wearing designer clothes, or are you, what kind of purse are you carrying, or just have you mentioned anything about your career or your status, or like things like that, where they're going to make assumptions about you off the bat, and then once you start giving them the answers from that, then it all cascades. It's important to understand like all of these are happening at one time. It's not a step-by-step thing. Except number 7, which is very common among psychics, and that is if you make an appointment with one, they just fucking research you. They go on Google and they find stuff out. And so that is the most obvious way that they'll swindle you.
Were there terms for that? Were there terms for like they had like warm reads and cold reads? Isn't that all kind of like, I thought I remember things about that. Like if they can research you beforehand, they do what's called a warm read. And if they have to just take it right from the get-go, it's like playing jazz. They just sort of like feel their way around. And miss some notes here and there, and make you believe that it was on purpose.
Right. And again, like, you have to consider if somebody is showing up eager for answers and already believing that they're going to get them.
Right. They're willing to believe it.
Yeah.
Right. They're going to find a way to kind of dance with the psychic and get the answers that they want. Okay. Let's do best and worst. I'm going to start with myself today. The best moment is the last moment of the show, when you realize a lot of things, like A, Ethan was the one who was not on the plane. B, he's sinister as fuck and something bad is about to happen, because now we know that he was trying to stick a needle in Claire, probably. I guess we're assuming everything was true. There's other people on the island. It's not just Danielle. It's not just these weird voices. There's definitely somebody physically there who is not related to any of the other situations. It's just a moment that brings a whole lot down on you at one time. Worst moment. Oh, well, when the psychic takes it upon himself to put her on a plane that's going to crash. I mean, it's just like, really, dude, what the fuck is wrong with you? I'm not sure I care about his motivations. That was a line crossed for me.
Yeah.
Ben, how about you?
The best moment, I think, was the same. I think the last moment of the episode was just, it was really cool. They built that to a fever pitch with all the cuts going back and forth. And then him, Ethan sitting there, he's just sort of like encompasses sort of like this kind of specter, this kind of evil that you've been kind of sensing on this island. So I really like the way they did that. The worst scene was probably the scene where Thomas comes back and he's like, I can't do this. And he's, just being a dick. And for all the reasons you said, he's like, he basically was like, yeah, we can do this. And then leads her down the primrose path. And then, decides that, his painting is more important. That's just a pretty much a dick move. Yeah, it's like, you can actually still paint. Like, if you were a musician and all you did was like play, like you were a rock drummer, okay, that could really suck, because you got a baby. But it's not like a baby gives a shit that you're painting,
right?
Yeah, I mean, artists have children. They do all the time, and it works out just fine.
Yeah, and does that mean that you have to have another job? Probably. But if you have that other job, and then when you come home from that job and you're taking care of the baby goes to bed, what can you do then? You can paint.
Thomas.
You can paint, you fuckhead. So yeah, he just.
Complete.
Tell me how you really feel, Benjamin.
He's a douche.
I really do not like Thomas. Yeah.
Okay. Derek, best and worst.
My best moments was when Charlie was, kept telling Claire that he'll be there for her. He was helping her the whole time, through her problems, and even though she was, kept pushing him away because of, douchebag Thomas, what he did in her past. That was my best moment. And the worst moment was, the psychic sending, 100 and how many ever people were on that flight to either their death or stranding on a island. Knowing this.
Yeah. Christy.
Best moment was when Hurley was getting the manifest from Sawyer. And he's like, dude, you can be a dick, or you can just fucking give me the manifest, because you could use the brownie points. So I loved that.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of, I feel like I'm going to have to go back and count, but a lot of your best moments have been Hurley moments.
Yeah.
You're right. I really just adore the character so much.
Yeah. It's great that, his character,
it provides a little comic relief. And,
right. But it grows over time. But in this beginning, he just kind of pops in and out, but he apparently is racking up like the best moments.
And he ain't going to take any of Sawyer's shit.
Yeah.
That's true.
My worst moment is almost a tie between realizing what the psychic did and realizing that Ethan wasn't on the manifest. They're both really just horrifying moments. So those are my two worst moments.
All right. How about your characters?
Top character is Charlie. He's just so sweet to Claire. He's very kind to her, and it's sincere. And then my least favorite character in this episode was Ethan, because he's fucking terrifying.
Yeah.
He goes beyond creepy to fucking terrifying. So
Yeah.
Ben?
My favorite character in...
Wait. Stop. Who are you fucking and killing, Christy?
Fucking Charlie, just because he's super sweet. And Ethan.
Okay. Oh, well, so Thomas is not going to sweep the kill category. Ben, give us yours.
My favorite was Hurley in this episode for the same reasons. Like he's funny and he goes about his work and he makes really smart decisions that other people just aren't thinking about. My worst character is Ethan. I mean, he's got, in addition to just having a punchable face, like you can tell at the end of the scene that he's just kind of like a trained dog. Like he's not really like he's there and he's sort of just an encompassment of like menace. I would, I'd fuck Kate. She's not really in this episode a whole lot, but
was she even in this episode?
Yeah, she was. She was sinking, right? Early in the episode.
All right, looking hot, sinking.
And then I'd kill Thomas. Like he's got to go.
How about you, Derek?
Thomas is no longer an immediate threat, but Ethan is.
Yeah,
I mean that's valid. I just still think he should die.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fuck that guy.
But, he lives in Australia. Things there are always trying to kill people. So
that's true.
Funnel web spiders.
All right, Derek, how about you?
Best character was Charlie, of course, for helping Claire, throughout her issues. Worst is Thomas, just for being a complete douchebag asshole. And I would actually fuck Claire this episode, the non-pregnant, the early pregnancy Claire back in Australia.
Okay.
Yeah, somebody else fucked pregnant Claire at one.
I did.
I think it was Ben.
Well, I would, 5 or 6 months, but right, third trimester, I don't know.
Well, it's good to induce labor, so you could just be pounding that from behind.
All of a sudden, plop! Oh, there's your baby.
I don't know it works that fast.
And you're like, no, I got a painting career. I got to go.
Yeah, I'm done. And of course, I would kill Thomas just because he needs to die. Complete, total asshole.
My number one character this week is the mayor of Lost Town. It's Hurley. Yeah. He is thinking about things other people are not, and he's making life better and safer. And I get it, Jack's the doctor and the hero, but the real work is being done by Hurley right now, I feel like. Worst character is Thomas. I'm also killing Thomas because fuck that guy. And this week I'm fucking Charlie again, but the last time I fucked Charlie, it was a pity fuck, and this time he really earned it.
Mm-hmm.
He was
definitely.
He was awesome. He was being there for his friend. He kept trying. He was being better to her than she was putting out, and so I'm gonna put out, and I'm gonna fuck Charlie, not pitying. It's gonna be very enthusiastic. Fuck for Charlie.
Well, that's good.
Yes, that's good. Let's do final impressions. I'll start. Great fucking episode. The cliffhanger at the end is brutal, and shocking, and for all the reasons I said before about what that moment does to you. And then as far as like themes go, it kind of introduces the idea that there are other forces. I shouldn't say introduces. Danielle kind of introduces that idea by saying so. It confirms that there are other forces on this island. Oh, Ben has reminded me that I forgot to get him to update the power rankings after we did that. So backtrack. Go ahead, my dear.
The power rankings are holding pretty much steady this week. We've still got Kate out in front, Locke behind her. We did have and we've got Sun is still in third place for our third favorite, with Jack just behind her. Giggity again. We still got Shannon at the bottom of the barrel, but again, for the last 3 or 4 weeks, she has not been nosediving as she was before, so we've got some other folks sort of catching up to her. We still got Sawyer, who's second from the bottom, and then Michael rounding out the Losers Club.
Yeah, well, in a few episodes, Shannon's going to tank again. I'm certain of it because I know what's coming. Thank you for that. Thank you for the reminder. And I also just want everybody to know that we all sign into this like podcasting sort of software. We can see each other, although we're only recording the audio. And when little notes pop up in the chat, we can see everyone's name. And I just want to tell you that Ben has himself set as Archibald Meat Pants. And that's who I got a message from telling me about the power rankings. So
Meat Pants with a Z. That's important.
Yes. Thank you so much, Archibald. So back to my what I was talking about with the and thank you for that, Ben. I appreciate it. We appreciate it. As far as like kind of the theme, like we've confirmed that there are other forces on this island. We don't know much about them, but there are other people. There are other things going on here. It's bigger than just their stranded group and Danielle's stranded group, or what's left of it. And again, it's a really powerful episode. Absolutely fucking love it. Ben, what do you think?
I loved this episode. This is one of my favorite episodes. This one and The Moth are two of my favorite episodes because they do like there's an effective tool that they use in this show, and I find that my favorite episodes are the ones that do this, and they're the ones that very immediately translate the sort of fears and anxieties and all of the kind of suffering and what brought them to this island, and it has an analog within the island. Like there's in this case, Claire was feeling this sort of hesitancy towards Charlie, and you see why. It's because he's basically an echo of Thomas in the current times, but then you also see them in the same way that in the last episode where Charlie was sort of, or in The Moth, where Charlie was sort of like, coming out of that cocoon. It was that same sort of deal whereby when you get to the end of the episode, they somehow pushed through that sort of thing that had been holding them down. So it's
all about like learning lessons and having second chances and making different choices. You gravitate toward those episodes. That's interesting.
I do. Yeah. I love this episode.
Alrighty. That's 2 for awesome episode. Christy, what did you think?
I thought it was a pretty great episode. Things are getting super fucking weird. Ethan is creepy as fuck. And, now we're all left with the question, like, where the hell did he come from? I love the cliffhanger. Can't wait to see what happens next.
You know what happens next. Derek does not know what happens next. How did you feel about this episode? What are your impressions and questions?
I really liked this episode. It was one of my favorites so far. The cliffhanger, of course, what's going to happen to Charlie and Claire. And, I also like the whole, backstory of Claire and, how she ended up on this particular flight and, why the so-called psychic wanted her on it. And my biggest question at the end of the episode is, who is Ethan Rahm and where did he come from?
Yeah. That's a great question. It's
Ontario.
Ontario.
Well, yeah, okay. Okay, how did he get on that damn island?
Yeah. How did he get on that damn island?
I asked myself earlier, like I said, where's Ethan from? And I was like, wait a second. Is there some sort of Ethan Frome reference going on here? And then I thought more about it. I was like, no, that's just, there's no Ethan Frome reference going on here.
Isn't that close to the name? No, I feel like in Ferris Bueller's Day Off, like the hot dog king of Chicago, isn't that like
that's Abe Froman.
Abe Froman. Okay.
Abe Froman.
I knew it was something like that.
The sausage king of Chicago.
Yes.
Oh, God,
okay.
Really
oh my God.
Yeah.
All right. So yeah, Derek, who is Ethan? Where did he come from? How did he get to the island? Those are questions that will be answered, but you are going to have to get those answers over time. We're talking seasons here.
It was L. Ron Hubbard. It was L. Ron Hubbard. We already know that. We've established it.
Tom Cruise.
So, hang on to those thoughts, those questions. They will be answered at some point, but not next week. Next week, Derek is presenting another episode. It is number 11, called All the Best Cowboys Have Daddy Issues. And it's a Jack episode. And we really hope that you come and join us for that next week. All right? Thanks. Bye. Lost in My 40s is a Space Bear Media production. Executive produced and edited by me, Lacy J. Sound engineering, editing, and original music by Benjamin Trim. Like and follow Lost in My 40s on Facebook to interact with your hosts. Plus, follow Space Bear Media on YouTube to watch our episode pre-shows. You can also find us at SpaceBear_media on Instagram and Twitter. Or come to our website, spacebearmedia.com.